Mic check 1 2 1 2.
It's funny because they got a delay for the one for YouTube and Facebook, and the one for Facebook is way delayed.
Really?
So you hear it go through YouTube, you check 1 2 1 2. Please say delay via Facebook 1 2 1 2.
Oh, snap. I can really hear myself, too. Uh huh. Oh, snap. Oh, I'm live now. Oh, man. Let me get my stuff together. Let's make sure I can read this, put this in the right font. Might need to put this phone down. Oh, man, we are going live. This is crazy with the microphone. I feel like dropping some rhymes now.
The other guy said the same thing. They were like, we always wear headphones. I said, I've been trying to tell y'all for the longest, but everybody want to look cool.
Oh, so they don't wear them?
No.
Oh, shh.
The first you gotta wear them today because somebody called in, you gotta hear it. But I'm like, this shit sound good, right?
Yeah.
You hear yourself, it like put you in it more.
Right. I can imagine if I'm spitting right now, like I'll get hype.
Why would you be spitting? Oh, you talking about rapping?
Rapping. Oh. Since I don't do that, I might. Well, should I do it all the time around my boys? I'm always rapping, especially they say something that make me think of a rhyme. Yeah. Yeah. Live. Sitting. All right. Oh snap. You know what's funny? I had no idea what to expect. I actually just thought it felt like, oh, like live, and I'm just down. This feels like a whole experience now.
You want me to put it up here? Can you see that?
Oh, no, I don't- no. It'll be distracting. I'll be like, dang, look at that dude.
But I'm talking about the Facebook interaction.
Oh, you can.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Going live, going live. Already. So for everyone that's already tuned in, um, did the post, put it on my stories, sent some text messages. Make sure you guys interact. Make sure you tell a friend to tune in. This is my first time being live on social media, period. So I guess I had to do it in a big way. Um, yeah, get my notes together. I have a lot going on when I'm setting up to do my show and stuff. I'll be sitting here right here in the chair getting ready to go over the show, and I'm thinking about what I'm gonna stop home to grab on the way home for the boys. And y'all gonna have to excuse me. I've never performed on a mic with headphones on, so like I hear myself while I'm saying it, so it feels kind of weird because I be tuning myself out when I'm talking to you guys. So I got to deal with myself today, and I'm sending out messages to people. So they said they can hear me, so that means I'm good. All right, that's all I needed. Make sure you guys interact. You guys could potentially big up my ego, or you can crush my soul. Nah, you really gonna crush my soul. All right, we're about to do this. Let me see. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to a special episode of the Daddy Everyday Podcast. This is my 20th episode, so I'm going to try to do it kind of big. We're going live on YouTube and Facebook. So this is one of those episodes you guys are going to have to share if you know of a incarcerated father or absentee father, a father that's just trying to do his best to stay connected to his children. If you've read my book, Fresh Start for Dash, Reconnecting After Prison and Absenteeism, which is doing phenomenal. So thank you for those that shared it to other people. The feedback is great. It's been out a couple of years now. Might be time to do an edition 3, a third edition, I guess I should say. But thank you for the feedback, the reviews, the ratings, all that stuff. I really appreciate it. And it's touching people, not just here in Georgia, but like if you tuned in a couple of episodes ago, I mentioned how I had someone who is teaching parenting classes in prison out in California. So my book is out there. They're using my book as part of their lesson plan. So that is amazing. And who knows how many others are doing that. So I'm now on a campaign to follow up with prisons and stuff and seeing about getting my book into prisons. Probably something I should have did a while ago, but the whole juggling work and the kids and all that type of stuff, it's a lot of things. I'm still playing catch up in this nonprofit game. But so I'm going to go over activities for incarcerated fathers that they can do to stay connected while they're in prison, and as well as activities for absentee fathers or fathers that are trying to get connected with their children. I broke it down into age groups so that if it touches you, like I broke it down to birth to 5 and so on like that. So if you hear your age group, take note and then pay attention to the others as your kid grows. Now, mind you, everything can be tweaked based upon, your kid. Like a lot of these things I did with my boys, that's what I drew from that experience. And even with Kendrick and Dylan, like at the same age, though when they were at certain ages, I realized I had to do things slightly different. And then also, it was probably also the first kid thing. You're like super protective. Now Dylan's pretty much on his own now for a lot of things. So you'll just adjust as needed. It's also based on the kid. So make sure you stay kid focused, not so much what you're comfortable with. Focus on the kid, because trust me, a lot of the things I've done with bonding with my kids at an early age, I can see it now. Like Kendrick's 18 now, and he still loves to play Madden with me. Still likes to watch football with me. He still likes to interact with me. And I know it's because from birth to now, I spent the time interacting with him and everything. So trust me, this works. If you do it, and you have to be consistent. Definitely got to be consistent. Like I'm trying to get consistent in the podcast game. So I'm 20 episodes deep. I followed podcasts that haven't made it to 20 episodes. So it is a struggle. Shout out to the ones that can do it consistently every week. I'm trying to get to that point to make sure I'm doing it every week. But, life throws a curveball at times. But let's jump right into this. I'm going to start with absentee fathers. So we're going to start with around 3, but if a kid can be younger, you can adjust this like 3 to 5, maybe even 6 or so. But one of the things that kids love is being read to. And of course, this is going to help them when it's time for them to start reading. You want to go ahead and start getting them fascinated with learning to read. And it helps if you kind of hold the book out to them. So now, you know what? I got to back up a little bit. For this to work, for the absentee fathers, for the incarcerated fathers, for this to work, you have to develop a relationship with the caregiver. Whether that's the kid's mom, the kid's grandparents, whoever is guardian over that kid, you have to have a great relationship with them. So if you guys have beef, you have issues, you have to come to come to the table and resolve those issues, because this isn't going to work if the caregiver isn't on your side. You have to have that relationship, because they can help you reinforce things. They can fill in the gaps for you because they're going to be with the kid more often than you. So you have to have that relationship. So I implore you, if you don't have that relationship, that's the first thing you have to start with. If you're one of the ones that call your kid and you're like, first thing you're saying is, put my son on the phone, stop with that. You need to start with, how's your day going? Like, focus on them, because you're going to really need them to make this work. You got to have that support from them. All right, I just wanted to stress that. I may stress it again because it's paramount that you guys have a great working relationship. All right, so story time adventures. Like with my boys, I would read to them, and then, and this is why I think they have great imaginations, especially Dylan, I would make up stories. Like, of course, you start that once upon a time. That's what they're familiar with. It pulls them in. And then I take it a step further. I describe them in the story, kind of. So they was like, wait a minute. And then I either throw their name in, throw their friends' names in. That pulls them in. You got them. They are locked into the story. This is a great way to teach them, like, maybe right for wrong, making a story one of those things where something, maybe even something like dealing with the house, like, hey, he had young Dylan had a task that he didn't really want to do, but he wanted to make his mom and dad proud, so he cleaned this room, something like that, but make it more adventurous kind of thing. You'll have them locked in. And then that's one of those things that they'll later come back and say, hey, I cleaned my room because I wanted to make you guys proud, just like in the story. Trust me, it works. Going on nature walks. Now, Kendrick was down for it, but Dylan isn't much of an outdoorsman. So he didn't like to participate in the walks. Even now, like, I walk with my boys. Sometimes we'll walk to go grab a bite to eat. But having them go out and then talking to them about things in nature, like trees, explaining about leaves falling and things like that, just to pique their curiosity about things in nature. And you're teaching them at the same time. And all these things that I'm going over are just ways to just bond with the kid. Like, and I can't stress enough, like, these are things I did with my boys. My son is 18, and we're still doing some of the things we did when he was like 6, like whether it's the walks and things like that. And I'm still explaining things to him now, but it's on a higher level now. It gives me an opportunity to explain my life experiences at his age. And you can never start too young with that. Like, at this age where you're doing these things, like, one of the next things I have is role playing. If it's a girl, like role playing with dolls and things like that, and with stuffed animals and things like that with your boys, and just telling him how your experience was when you were a kid. Like, whether you had parents that did that, share that with them. Or if your dad didn't, or if you didn't even know your dad, explain that to your son, so maybe they can have a greater appreciation that you're attempting to do this. And especially if you haven't been in your kid's life, or you're just getting into your kid's life, or you're not in it enough, as you feel like you're not there enough and you're trying to make the effort to get there more. Explain your situation growing up and how it was for you, so they can start connecting. Maybe not at 3 and 5 as much. You don't have to go into as much details, but as they get older, then you can start sharing more as you're experiencing these things, and talk about how I never did this with my dad. And then hopefully you'll pass on, so that your son or daughter will participate in their kid's life on a regular basis. So don't want to get too long-winded on one age group, so I'm going to run through some more. Also, if you follow me on social media, Daddy Everyday on Facebook, Instagram, I'm going to try Twitter or X. But I'm gonna share these. I'm gonna make memes or flyers or whatever with these things lined out because I'm gonna probably skip over some because I wrote quite a few for every age group, and I don't want to spend a lot of time doing that because I want to potentially open up the phone lines for you guys to call in. So I'm gonna go over some more from the ages 3 to 5, that preschool age. So going to museums, music and movement, just dancing with your kid, cooking, like have something that you and your kid cook. You know, it can be something as small as cupcakes or make hot dogs or things like that. Puzzle time. Let's say if you're not able to see your kid all the time, maybe you start on a puzzle and then every time you guys get together, you keep fixing the puzzle and the kid will have that anticipation of seeing you. Now, don't drop the ball and go ghost on them. I'm just going to keep it real. You're going to start, once you start implementing these things with your kids, they're going to really look forward to it. And you cannot drop the ball on this. This is the get real moment once you start this. So this is one of those things. If you're not going to finish, don't start because the kid's really going to be expecting it. Establishing bedtime routines. Like I had that with my boys as well. Just little things we would do right before it's time to go to bed. And if they can't sleep or if they're feeling sick or something, I would typically sleep in their room, like sleep on the floor until they fall asleep kind of thing. But on to the next age group. So this is I call it elementary age, that's 6 to 11. So this is where my boy Dylan is at right now. Board games. Me and Dylan play Uno. Sometimes we convince Kendrick to play with us, but me and him are really big on Uno. And then when he's at his mom's house, they're playing board games as well. So I probably need to open up to more board games. I pretty much just have Uno, like 3-4 different types of Uno at my place. So probably need to get a couple of more. Sports time. Dylan plays soccer. Kendrick plays soccer too when he was at his age as well. So like kicking the ball around, playing basketball, throwing the football around. I'm going to try to get Dylan into football. He's not really into football like that. Kendrick was, like, we still throw the football now. But I'm going to try to get Dylan into that. Science experiments. Now, this is something I really didn't do with Kendrick, but I did with Dylan. So he loves doing science experiments. Some food type experiments and then the little scientific ones. Lots of fun. And then once again, this is learning for them as well. Bike rides. Dylan doesn't ride a bike. He never really got into it. He's just not his thing. Maybe I'll try to introduce it to him again. Gardening, planting flowers and vegetables, and just watching them grow. Like this can be one of those things again for the father that's trying to establish something, like having it grow. Maybe you guys take turns keeping it at your place and then say, hey, look how far I've allowed it to grow. Now it's your turn kind of thing. Movie night, watching what the kids want to watch. It's also a great opportunity to introduce them to something age appropriate, of course, that you watched growing up as well. It could be a wonderful thing, and kind of, especially if you like one of those ones that really like movies, this is your way to get your kid on your level as well. Going to the library. People don't realize the library is an excellent source of obviously learning, but entertainment as well. They have movies and things you can check out, of course, books, magazines. So that's a fun way to engage your kid, and it's free 99, so you're not even coming out your pocket for it. I mentioned this earlier, trips to the museum as well. Like museums can be used throughout all ages because there's so many different exhibits that you can check out. So I definitely employ that. Starting a journal with your kid, like maybe documenting your experience. Let's say if you see your kid on the weekends. Just document what you guys did over the weekend, and then jot down what you guys want to do upcoming, and then start, checking things off. So I definitely suggest that. I might have to start doing that as well with the boys. Like, Kendrick's about to go off to college, and Dylan's on his way to middle school next year. So maybe we start a journal, the three of us together, and we can look back on it later in life and share it with their kids, my grandbabies. Not anytime soon, though. Let's get to tweens. I think it's pronounced tweens and teens. This is like around 12 to 17. Now, this is the test right here. If you've done these things at the earlier ages, it'll be much easier to continue doing things with them at this age. If you haven't been around and now you're trying to start, this is where definitely the females I've seen, like I have boys, but from other parents, that when their daughters hit these tween ages, where they're not quite teenagers, and then of course the teen years, it's trouble. It's trouble. It's attitude and all that type stuff. Boys are a little bit more easygoing, but sometimes they're just so nonchalant about things. That's Kendrick. That it's hard to try to engage in things with them if you haven't already established it. So, excuse me, if your kids are still young, definitely start doing things with them now, because when they hit these ages, it gets more difficult. Because can you imagine if you haven't established this stuff with your kid and you say, hey, let's go for a hike, or hey, let's cook together. Like it almost sounds corny to them. No, really, it's gonna sound corny to them. So you have to go ahead and start establishing these things. Like a lot of these things I have listed, go ahead and let the kid know this is you trying to bond with them. Let them know what it is. I mean, they're 12, 13, 15, so on. Let them know that you're just trying to make a connection with them. You're just trying to get to know them. Just find out what they're interested in and seeing how you can be a part of it. Study up on it, and then so that you can talk to them about it. I would say, like, maybe you listen to their music already, and if you don't, check it out. Don't be critical of it, because every parent pretty much dislikes what their kids like, almost, typically. So be understanding of what they're interested in and just try to get to know it. The movies they like, of course, the music, like I mentioned, books, TV shows, YouTube channels that they check out. Try to find out what they're interested in and try to learn it. But if your kid is open or at least willing to attempt to do some things with you, try, let's see, what's a good one? Goal setting. Like discussing what their goals are and what your goals are. Your immediate goals could be just connecting with you more. Just let them know and find out what they're interested in. Maybe it's something you're interested in too, and you can help them along the way. Tell them about your experiences in trying to achieve some of the goals you had in life and what your setbacks were and how you overcame them. Like, share those kind of learning tools based on your experiences and share with them so that maybe it'll make it easier for them along their way as well. But volunteering is a good one. I had both my boys volunteer with me when I was volunteering at the Dream Center. I need to get back to that. Shout out to the Dream Center of Henry County. Going to concerts together. Like, maybe you take them to one of your concerts, like a throwback concert, and then you go to one of their concerts. Working out, like, especially if your kid's an athlete, try to get into working out with them. Like, whenever you get a chance to see them, try working out with them. Now, mind you, I can have fathers watching this as well that if you're there every day. So definitely take note that these are things you can implement as well if you're there every day. This episode is just kind of me focusing on those fathers that or incarcerated or absentee. So I just want to give them some things that they can learn. But obviously, all these things, if you're one of those dads, if you're a daddy every day and you're there every day, please, I implore you to implement some of these activities with your kids. If you and your kid are into similar books, maybe starting your own book club with them, like branching maybe some of their parents and some of the kids all together. That's a pretty cool concept. Uh, Cooking, that can still, and cooking helps them later in life as well. My dad taught me a couple of things that I can still use now as far as cooking. He One of his things was you got to learn how to cook. So you don't have to depend on no woman, which was pretty dope that he said that. So now I know how to cook enough to survive. So I'm pretty good. Uh, Life skill workshops, like that's a really big thing now. Is going to workshops and take your kid with you. Like if something like even if they've shown no interest in it, you never know what they can pick up from it. So like you can learn from things that are not directly related to what you're going after. So take note of that. So those are definitely some things you can do with your kids. So all that was for the absentee father or father that's trying to get back into their kid's life and rebuild those connections. Uh, but now I need to go to incarcerated fathers. Now, of course, this is going to be way different because of the structure of the relationship. But even as an incarcerated father, you're able to participate in activities with your kid. And I broke it down into age groups as well. Once again, shout out to everyone that's watching live. Thank you. Thank you. I haven't mastered trying to look at the monitor and do all this at the same time. So I'm going to stay focused on the material. And then as I get better at doing lives, we'll take it up a notch. But so, of course, you have the unique challenges of being locked up. And I don't know what your particular situation is because I feel like a lot of times when I'm doing an episode, I'm talking to a particular father. Like I'm looking at the camera and I'm talking to a particular father. So I don't know what your situation is, your connection. These tips and everything are to try to help. Obviously, you'll have to modify it based upon if your kid able to visit you. Once again, the relationship you have with the caregiver, but and the restrictions of the prison. I know it varies. Like some of these activities may not be possible, or you may have to just make modifications to them. But I'm gonna go over these, and I hope that a couple of them resonate with you, and you're able to participate in these because these are really great activities that can really help you connect with your kid, regardless of what your time frame is. All right. So we're gonna start with the young group, that preschool group again. Create hand paint art. Like simply create art while you're in prison. I know a lot of prisons have art programs. Participate in that. Like you don't have to become a major artist or anything, but just go into that, learn something new while you're there, and then share that with your kid. Let them see what you did. And you know, kids are drawing all the time. Encourage them to send you artwork and everything. And then in your letters, tell them how much you appreciate the art. Maybe try to draw a picture of them and have them draw a picture of you, kind of thing. That's a nice way to creatively bond with each other. If you're able to do like book exchanges where you're able to send off books and have books sent to you, try doing a coloring book with your kid, like coloring in the coloring book and then sending it to them, letting them color. I wrote a book called, well, co-authored a book, I should say, with Kendrick, Kendrick's Big Book of Stuff. And it has like tic-tac-toe, coloring activities, and all these different type of activities. that's a great book. And I'm sure there's others, but I'm gonna plug mine. Um, where you can do something in the book and send it to them, let them do something, and then you guys go back and forth like a game of tic tac toe. Like it'll take weeks to complete one game, but that anticipation between for both of you guys of waiting to see what move they made, doing your move, and then wondering what move are they going to try to do now is a great way to continue bonding. Doing a family photo collage, getting them to send you as many pictures as possible. Of course, at a young age, of course, you have to have the caregiver participating a lot more in this, but um, so you can actually see them grow up and possible taking pictures in prison yourself to send to them so they can watch you, kind of see as you grow. Um, of course, letters and pictures. I got that. Um, what else? If you're able to record like a bedtime story message. Now, once again, this is with the caregiver, but if you're able to get a video recorder, I understand some restrictions, and record those messages and send it to the kid, just audio messages that they can listen to when they want to. It would be really nice. Let's see. Recipes, like ask your kid like what their favorite food is, and then what would they make with if you and then you give them a list of ingredients, that kind of thing, just to get their little minds thinking. Let's move up to elementary age, which is around 6 to 12. Uh, Doing the pen pal thing, so it's an easy one because they're they're learning how to write, and then as they get a little older, they actually know how to read and write. So this is a good way that you guys can just keep sharing each other thoughts with each other. Um, I knew of a friend, a guy I work with, and he was once locked up, and this is one of the things that him and his kid did, like just writing back and forth kind of thing. So, uh, like when they're coming to visit, if there's board games you guys can play, make sure you guys have your go-to game that you guys play, and like you keep telling them, I'm getting better at this, and they're gonna try to keep getting better and things like that. This is a way to just keep encouraging them, kind of thing. And then when you get out, you guys have your thing, when it comes to games and things like that. Um, Help them with their homework. Um, like if they have sight words and things like that, obviously you can't do it um, as often as you want, but it could be one of those things like when you do talk to them on the phone or do it through letters, going over the stuff, ask them what they're learning and things like that. Um, Share your story of when you were at that age of how it was for you um, to learn your sight words and math and all that type of stuff. Um, Sports, more like maybe more like fitness, but like if you're hitting the gym and things like that, like encourage them to do the same. Um, like if they're into sports, it may be easier to encourage them to do that. But if they're not into sports, encourage them to do push-ups. Like make a promise to each other that you'll do 10 push-ups a day or something. And then when you guys talk or in letters, just say, hey, are you keeping up with your push-ups? Are you keeping up with your jumping jacks? You're keeping up with your walking, things like that. Or be great ways to get that bonding time in and stay connected. Like maybe a family tree project. Um, this one I think is very important in the sense of letting the kids know their history as far as their family. I know, like for me, I have a lot of questions as far as like my family. The only family I truly know, like my immediate sisters and brothers, my uncles on my mom's side, But that's about it, really. Like, I don't know um, outside of that. And of course, my sisters and brothers, their kids and things like that. But I don't really know my family. It would have been nice to have a family tree kind of thing. Like, I don't know my biological father, so there's probably a dude, maybe even a female, that looks just like me that I've never met before. So um, it'll be nice to do that. Like, I actually think every family should have like a family tree, something that you can look back on and just know your history kind of thing. All right. So we're gonna move on to uh, teenagers. All right. So this is a tough one if you've been out your kid's life, like all during their learning years, pretty much, and like, and if you're trying to connect now, much like when I said with the absentee fathers who've been haven't been present like they probably should have. When they hit the teens, it's a different story. If you haven't already established things, but I know, like, even with me, I'm struggling with certain stuff, and I've been with like my boys their whole lives, like with Kendrick, with getting ready for college. Excuse me. Like, I went to college, and their mom went to college, but I really didn't have assistance when I was trying to go to college. So like I did everything on my own, and there are several things I wish I would have done differently. Um, and so now I'm trying to help Kendrick along the way. Everything that I didn't do right or I wish I would have did differently, I'm trying to instill in him. Yo, this is what you should be doing. Focus on this and things like that. He's just so nonchalant about college. Has excellent grades. So him getting into college is not a problem. Of course, paying for it, me and his mom will have to work that out. But he's just not. I don't know. It's not even like he's not motivated. Like, I'm still trying to get in his mind. Like, I think he had a plan. I think when me and his mom said college, whatever his plan was, I don't know. It's something. It's something there. So if you're watching this, Kendrick, you need to tell me what that something is. I know it's something. You say it's not, but it's something. But if you're, have an older kid that's getting ready to go to college, talk to them about it. If whether you went to college or not, um, let them know maybe you wanted to go and you didn't. Maybe kind of explain to them the pitfalls that you had and why you didn't go. Um, and then encourage them, like ask them questions about, like, so what's it like, like be really concerned and interested in it, their whole process, because it's a process. So like whether it's picking out a college, going through the application process and all that, figuring out a major. So really show interest in um, their college journey. Some other things, they have like virtual museum tours that you can do online, kind of thing. So look into that. Sharing each other's playlist, see what they're listening to. Let them know what you like to listen to. That goal setting is back again. Um, Let them know what find out what their short term and long term goals are, and then share yours as well. Based upon your sentence, maybe you have a short amount of time. Let them know how you plan to hit the ground running and get your fresh start. Whether it's with, obviously you want it to be with them, but what are you going to do to better yourself? Like, let them know in on that. I mean, and they probably really want to know that. Like, what are you going to do once you get out? How are you going to turn yourself around and things like that? I would suggest a journal. Like, this is even beyond the kids. I actually suggest a journal. Like in my book, Fresh Start for Dads, I have pages in there for like the first 45 days, like when you get out, like you hitting the ground running on everything. But it all starts while you're in prison still. Like the connecting with your kids, bonding with your kids, making good on relationship, that's all starts while you're still in prison. So when you get out, you're not trying to now start building things. You already have things established, and you can start really hitting the ground running with employment, housing, transportation, any other legal matters that you may have to take care of. You've already established that stuff while you were in prison. You've worked through it, so now you're ready to start implementing things. So I want to, like I said in the beginning, all this I'm going to put in a nice package, and I'm going to share it on my social medias and things like that, because there's still more things in here. But I want to start opening up things to anybody that wants to call in. Don't be shy. Hey, LA, will the people be able to hear them if they call in?
Yeah, they'll be there, sir.
Okay.
It's like when they call in, it's like they have a phone call with you.
Okay, so it's like a phone call. Okay. So if you're tuning in live, thank you once again. I want you to call in so I can have a conversation. I don't embarrass easily, but I'm going to put your name out there if you try to embarrass me. So I don't want this to be like one of those telethons where I'm trying to employ somebody to call and I'm saying the hotline is still open. So I need you guys to go ahead and start calling in. Will I hear the phone ring? Oh, he's going to hit, my super producer's going to hear the phone ring. So you guys go ahead and call in. I'm going to do a show and dance while I'm waiting for you guys. I'm not going to get up. While you guys are calling in, because I expect somebody to call in soon. Oh, I guess I'll drop my social media things. Daddy Everyday on Facebook, Instagram. DaddyEveryday.org is the official website that you'll find everything, a link to everything. DaddyEverydayClothing.com. This is where I got this hoodie from. Great merch for moms and dads out there. DaddyEverydayShop.com is my online bookstore. You'll see all my books on there, special deals. Then, of course, you can search on Amazon. Just search Delonzo Barnes, and you'll see all my books and journals that I have available. And I'm still trying to come up with next week's episode. I've been bouncing some ideas around. So if you guys call in, when you guys call in, hit me up with what kind of topics you guys want to talk about. I'm definitely interested in that. And don't be shy, because I know who all I text and who all I messaged and who all said they were excited about this. Oh, I do have some text messages. Don't send it to me. Just call in. That's funny. I'm sorry, reading y'all text messages out loud. Oh, well, not everybody's. Not that one. Okay. Yeah. But I'm really excited about the things that are happening with Fresh Start for Dads. So I am thinking about doing a third edition or a spinoff or something on it, because the feedback has me, it makes me feel like all the other books were me cutting my teeth in this whole author game to write this book. It has been my biggest seller by far. The most, I think it's probably got me booked on a lot of things, speaking engagement and things like that. And then even with some of the partnerships that I have developed, I think it's all stems from that book. But I always got to show love to Daddy Everyday, rewriting the Black American dad story, because that was the start. And if you are a longtime fan of me, then you remember the original book cover. It wasn't this right here. I think I can get that in the camera shot. It wasn't that. It was the one with me and Kendrick on the cover, because he's the inspiration for me writing the book. So I had to show him some love. And that was my favorite photo. Like, where did we take that picture? I think we were at maybe like Cheesecake Factory or something. And I think his mom wanted to take a picture of us, and he gave me a big hug around my neck, and I had to crop out the waiter. The waiter was actually right beside us, so I had to crop him out. But it was always one of my favorite photos. So when I was trying to think of a book cover, I said has to be it, and then I had to get a graphic designer to make it look nice and pretty. So, and I think I may have that available on Amazon. I don't sell it on my bookstore because it's one of those things that I'll bring out, like when I do live events or pop up events, where I'll bring out to sell. Because the second edition has a lot of the stuff that was in the first book, so I don't really try to sell both of them, and they both pretty much have a lot of the same information. But maybe I'll bring it back as a collector's edition kind of thing. So, yeah. Also, make sure you share this episode with, like I said, absentee fathers and incarcerated fathers as well, so that they can get this information. And when I get those flyers up with this information, make sure you guys share that with them as well. Now, it's one thing, again, I tried to work this out, and I need to ask someone, like, how would you go about an absentee father, go about approaching him to get involved in his kid's life? Because I know there's some that are out there willing, and to the moms and caregivers that are reluctant. Now, obviously, if you have good reason, I understand. But if he wants to try, and he seems like a decent dude, let him try to build that relationship. It can be supervised as well. There's programs where it can always be a supervised visitation if that's the route that you have to go. But it's important for the kid because, like, even with me, I never, like, growing up, it's weird because I had a dad. Like, he was my stepdad, but that's my dad. It's my younger brother and sister's dad, but that's my dad. So I never had an issue, like, knowing my biological father. It wasn't until I had my kids and I was, well, one thing that bothered me growing up is like in my 20s when I had to start filling out like medical forms, and then they ask my dad's history, and I have no idea. So it bothered me then, but it still didn't make me want to find my biological father. It wasn't until I had my kids and I see how much they're like me, like some of their mannerisms, their corniness at times. And yes, boys, you guys are corny, and you get it from me. I'll admit it. I'm not corny now. I'm super cool now, but back then I was corny when I was your age. But those type things and how much they enjoy being around me, that's when I start wondering what my biological father was like. Because like a lot of things I do, my dad didn't do. I mean, he worked all the time. So like my dad never threw a football to me or played video games with me. But I wonder if my biological father was that type, So like that's one of the things that like now I kind of want to know. And I did those things, the Ancestry and 23andMe, and I got close. I felt to possibly, when they tell you your closeness and kin or whatever, close to finding possibly a lead, but it kind of fizzled out. So I kind of just left it alone. I think that was like last year. So I just left it alone. Because it can be draining, like kind of getting your hopes up that you're about to. So I may try again. It's really just for me. And I still health-wise, like Lord willing, I got several more years left. So I would like to know, his medical history. I really don't know my mom's medical history. I think she passed at 49. I'm 47. So that's a concern, as far as like health and stuff. But so it's important. I mentioned the family tree. It's important to know for your kids to know your health. Like make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and make sure you pass that information on to them so they'll know like, hey, I have high blood pressure and things like that. So like they're conscious of their own health. Like, high blood pressure runs in my family, so I need to be conscious of that. So I definitely implore you to share those type things when your kids at the appropriate age where they can take that information and use it. So I think I'm gonna turn my phone off once I finish taping. I am very disappointed in you guys. But also, I ain't gonna front. Like, I don't know if I really call in. Maybe I would. Like, yeah, maybe. Well, I probably wouldn't call into a random person thing, but because I've never called into a radio station or things like that. Now I won off a radio station back in the day. This is way back in the day when Waiting to Exhale came out. I won like a Waiting to Exhale kit. It came with movie tickets, the book, and then the CD. So I called in, but it wasn't like live on the radio. But I called in, so it shows that I am capable of calling in, and you too can be capable of calling in. Let me have a caller. Someone call in right now, or somebody call in and give me the Falcons score. Or what time is it? Ooh, maybe I don't want to know the Falcons score. I do? Like, I want to know in a good way? Man, I don't know, LA. Yeah, but I don't know, like 2 minutes left in the game? Oh, snap. A lot can happen in 2 minutes. I know. I've been a Falcons fan a long time. A lot can happen, so I'm not. Ooh, nervous. Wait, is it 2 minutes left and we good to go though? Oh, that's what's up. LA, don't let me get off and then I look and see we got mollywopped. Hey, we got a caller from North Carolina.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are we calling for questions? Okay.
Oh, yeah, you can have a question.
Yeah. My question is, how, if you're not a father or you're not the parent, but you're like an uncle or brother, how do you show up for the male children in your life?
Calling and things like that. Or of course if you're in town just visiting and things like that, or heck, if you're out of town visiting more and stuff. So even with like the kid, if the kid is interested, have the kid like reach out to whoever they want to hang out with and things like that. So if it's needed, I am assuming using this based off experience. So if you want that to happen, go ahead and reach out and say, hey, I need this to happen, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So just like if you want that to happen for your kid, just say, hey, I need this to happen. Like, not ask, say, I need this to happen. And I know that they'll be receptive to that. Does that help any?
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And thank
I
you
will
for
try
calling
that.
in. Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I heard some beeps. Oh. Hey, if you call, hey, we're still getting this thing together, so I don't have like the those telethons where they have like 8 phones and stuff. So if you called in while I was on the call back. And since someone finally stepped on the dance floor first, right? So now the hotline should be blowing up now. Somebody's already got the first one out the way. So go ahead and call. So you heard how it goes down. You'll hear yourself. I'll try to answer the question to the best of my ability and my years of experience of being on this earth. And I'll apply that to your question. Or if you just want to make a comment, if you just want to comment me on my hair, my silky smooth voice, anything like that, just give me a call. I'm still looking at my notes because I'm still trying to figure out what next week's episode is going to be, because my weeks are always so hectic. So I need to go ahead and figure out what it's going to be this week, and then figure out what next week's going to be, and then as the week goes on, I start formulating more ideas, taking notes and things like that. So like this is what I do in the car. So like I'm driving and I take mental notes of whatever the subject matter is and things like that. I need to start recording some of my thoughts while I'm in the car, because I think I've let a lot of great ideas go by trying to rely on my memory. So that's not the best method for me, trying to rely on my memory. I definitely am one of the ones that got to write stuff down, but I can't always be writing stuff down in the car, especially when it's moving. So, anyone else is going to call? Don't be scared, because I actually kind of like this. The headphone thing, I'm used to it now. Like the first few minutes of having this on my head and hearing myself back was kind of, I fought through it. So now I just realized the headphones was on my head again just because I mentioned it. So I kind of got used to it. But yeah, I don't know. It's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. I don't know if I want every episode I had to wear headphones, but if it was for you guys calling, I would do it. I would do it for you guys. Yeah. I think this episode, are we gonna run with the title? Bonding Behind Bars. That's what I was thinking. Did it? Almost? Oh, we're about to get this, guys.
45 seconds, we up by 9.
We up by 9. That's 2 scores for those taking score at home. So, but anything can happen in the NFL. So we'll see. But we need this win right here. I hope this gets back to Arthur Smith. We need this win. I think we got a talented crew. I just need them to believe in themselves as much as I believe in them. As much as I believe in them every year. So I need them to believe like that, because I know they're putting in the work, but I need them to believe. Those are 2 different things. Heck, like in everyday life, you can put in the work in things. It's, do you believe you're going to achieve this? Do you believe in what you're doing, kind of thing? So it's the work, but it's also a mindset thing. So also, which I think is in football too. I think some teams win because heck, all the teams have abilities. They all have skills, or they wouldn't be in the NFL. I think it's the mindset that takes some teams further than others. Same thing with individuals. Like I know there's somebody out there who hasn't picked up a pen that can write me under the table, who haven't even recorded their voice before, but could do podcasts, can do many things. It's their lack of belief in themselves to do it. So I am a firm believer in believing in yourself. Like if you believe in yourself, you are already halfway there. Like you just got to get others to believe. But if you believe in yourself enough, others will believe, and your belief would just shine where they would want to follow suit and believe in what you're saying and follow what you're saying and things like that. Me dropping some, trying to drop some wisdom on you guys. Wow, 20 episodes in. I'm very impressed with myself. Shout out to my super producer, Big Lack, y'all. What you guys seen me on the Big Lack show. I've done like 2 episodes of it. The last one I did a few years back is that's the one where people said that they could see me on camera, kind of thing. Like, but I mean, sometimes others got to believe in you to get you to believe in yourself. Like I I never really wanted to truly do this. Like I never really pictured myself in the camera. Like I've done workshops and speeches and things like that. And it's hard for me to look at the playback of those. Like it's hard for me to look at the playback of these. Like I don't think I've actually watched one from beginning to end. I always like speed through and things like that. So it's still hard for me to see myself doing this. So like there's a little doubt in me. But it's a lot smaller than it was in the beginning. So pretty soon I'm gonna be rolling, at full strength. I'm not at full strength right now. I'm still learning routines and things, and still learning how to truly push myself. Like I'm like that phrase "all in" is powerful. It's more than just saying it. Like you really have to be all in. Like how my day job, for example, I'm going to another location because that store needs me. And like my store needs me, but this other store desperately needs me because they know when I'm there, I'm all in. I have not, and I know there's plenty of you guys out there too that on your day job, you're all in. Like, even if you don't want to be there, your performance, your work ethic, you're all in. But it's hard to be all in once you're off the clock and you're doing your everyday life, trying to be all in. It's very difficult to do that. And I'm still trying to learn that. Like, I won't say I stopped listening to like motivational speakers and things like that, but it's like they talk about when they were doing the 9 to 5 and still trying to start their business. I feel like they're leaving out a piece. I think they're leaving out the luck piece of it because, they talk about it is a struggle and then it happens. There's something that you have to do to make that thing happen. And I think I'm still struggling with that. And I think it is the all in piece. Like, and maybe that's it. Like maybe I haven't gone all in on Daddy Every Day. I mean, I know I haven't. I know that when I say Daddy Every Day, I mean the nonprofit, the podcast, the books, the merch. I haven't gone all in. I haven't gave it the everything I got like I give the day gig. Like I truly, April next year, make 20 years I've been doing the day gig. And I've been doing Daddy Every Day about 10, 11 years, I would say. I think rough about 10 years, I think. I have not gave it the full, all of me, as you will. I think in moments I give it a lot of me, but I haven't gave it all of me. So I'm still working on that. It's definitely a balancing act, and I think it requires a lot of sacrifices that I just haven't fully participated in, like fully to sacrifice to make that happen. I'm getting there though, guys. I mean, I am a lot further along now than I was at the beginning of 2023. In 2024, which is in a few weeks, I'm going to be set up to have a great year. And I know everybody say every year is their year, but 2024, I know. Oh, I think we have a caller coming in. That's about to get deep. So, caller, you better bring it. And I know everybody say every year is their year. Hey, caller, you got to turn down.
Yes.
You got to turn your stuff down. We have a caller coming in. That's about to get deep. So, caller, you better bring it. And I know everybody say every year is their year. Hey, you got to turn down your devices.
Yes. I just want to call in to let you know that I really appreciate your podcast that you have. And I want to let you know that Atlanta Falcons is winning 24-15.
Appreciate that.
Yes, most of all, I am a father who spent 25 years of his life incarcerated. Well, 25 years, 6 months, 6 days.
Wow.
And during them 25 years, 6 months, 6 days, my 3 daughters it took a big strain on the relationship that we had. And I just want to ask you, what advice would you give me in trying to reestablish some kind of relationship between us?
I would first individually reach out to them, not collectively. Individually reach out to them, and the very first thing you need to say, if you can get them on the phone, is "I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not being there for you. I know I was wrong. I apologize for that part because they spent, the better part of their lives without you. Apologize first, and then ask them, what can I do to be a part of your life in any shape or form? Like, and whatever it is, it's big or small, you just do what you can on your end to do that. If it's calling, just calling. What, like if they just said, even let's say at worst case scenario, they said nothing.
Mm-hmm.
If you can write them, if you can just call every so often, just to, and if you call every so often and they pick up, that's a start right there. But just apologizing first, call whatever they say you need to do as far as like just staying in communication. If you have their numbers, texting them on special occasions. If you're not able to call, but just start small and just so you can just chip away at the ice that they, this cold front they have, a cold shoulder you may be experiencing. Just chipping away at it, and then as they let you in, appreciate it. Don't drop the ball once you get going. Just keep going. Like I said, and even with some of the things I mentioned in here for like young kids, because if you were gone 25 years, your kids are going to be a lot older. Trying to spend time with them whenever you can, getting to know their kids, like sending their kids letters, maybe even trying to do some of these tips I have with their kids. Like, so maybe even if you can't completely rebuild that relationship with your kids, maybe with theirs, with your grandkids, you can start establishing something. Especially if they're young, like you can really get in on some of these things and start building a bond. That right there would help with mending things with your you said daughters, with your daughters.
Yes.
And just remember, it's going to take time. If you were gone 25 years, spend the next 25 years trying to mend fences.
Okay.
Yeah. But start small. It starts with a call. And then see how they let you in, and however they let you in, you just go from there.
I really appreciate it.
No, I really appreciate you calling and sharing your story too. I really appreciate that.
I would hope that in the near future that you will have something where you can have the father and the children to be able to call in, and you give some dialogue to both of them. Maybe you can be an intercessor that help with the situation.
Wow. Hey, LA, you heard that? We got to try to work on something like that. All right, just had to shout out my Big Black, my super producer. We're gonna try to work on that. I love that idea. I would love to be a part of that.
I would be looking forward to whenever you do post your next podcast, that you will, soon in the near future, that you will have something like that where I can have my daughters and myself to call in, and they can even vent, and get whatever they feel. You know what I'm saying? Share with the world. That way, maybe we can inspire somebody to be able to come back closer as we can come back closer.
Absolutely. And you have to be ready for that too, the venting part, when they have to let their frustration out. You have to be ready for that.
Most definitely.
Yes, and know that it may hurt, but just understand it from their standpoint, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, it hurts more not them being in my life than whatever they have to say. It cannot affect the pain that I feel now.
Wow. Right.
So
I would definitely definitely stay in contact. I would definitely like to try to work on that for you for sure.
Okay. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for calling. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good one.
You too. Wow. That was deep. Actually both calls um were really deep. And I definitely will definitely see how we can work on that. Even if I can't get it on the show, I'll try to figure out something so that we can make that happen for you. Thanks for calling. I really appreciate that. Now they kind of hit me right there. Uh, and that's what and that's what this show is all about. Like I want to help fathers. Like, and it's funny because people don't realize like the truth about Daddy Every Day is I want my boys to grow up in a better world. So I want better kids around them, which will help, with their generation. But the way I'm doing it is through fathers. So like really, it's selfish of me. I just want a better world for my boys to grow up in and their friends. But to do that, I want to do it through fathers. So I know we have to leave this world better than we had it growing up. So like I want this world to be better. And for me, it's like my boys are a part of my contribution to making this world better, but my work in the community, I want to help make this world better. And then that's how I feel with like fathers. Like if you raise great kids, you've done your job. Like that's really what parents want, is just their kids to be productive members of society. So I feel like I'm doing a good job. I want to encourage, inspire, but I want to empower fathers to be better parents, to be better leaders. I think like, and people think like, and when I say better leaders, I don't mean everybody's going to be Malcolm X or Dr. King and things like that. But like, whether you volunteer at the school, like being a lunch monitor. Like I did that before. I was a lunch monitor at my boys' school, and first of all, kids are amazed at strangers. So like, of course, my kid knew me and their friends knew me, but like, I'm telling kids, shh, and they like, okay, and they're like, can you help me open my milk? Like, do you like my shirt? Like, they're interacting like, and I learned that my presence sometimes is enough for other kids. Excuse me. Like when I was working at the Dream Center, I had mothers tell me that I was the only male figure that their kid would see all week. And I didn't even realize what I was doing was that deep. I knew I was helping, like I was interacting with the kids, but I didn't realize the importance of my volunteer work. So I definitely encourage people to volunteer. Like you may think it's small, but if everybody did something small, we will in the end do something big. It's really that simple. So it's kind of like recycling. Like if I recycle, you recycle. If everybody recycle, we can reduce pollution and all that other and waste and things like that. So that's gonna do it, guys. I'm taking back. I'm ready to get home, get my notepad out to start jotting down how I can make that happen for our caller. I'm blown away with the. Thanks for calling in. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been quite the experience. I'm probably not even gonna be able to sleep tonight just thinking about everything and how I can just make this podcast better and be all in for Daddy Every Day. Be all in. Shout out to my super producer, Big Lack. Thank you. This has been the Daddy Every Day podcast, episode 20. Thanks for tuning in. Falcons won. Kendrick's texting me to tell me Falcons won, I bet. Yep. 24-15. Atlanta wins. That's what's up.